We don't play until Friday. There is supposed to be some like severe rain down in the Allendale area on Thursday, so we'll end up practicing it on Thursday. But I do think getting some time outside will be good for us because we are so spoiled. Our team calls themselves indoor cats because they play the best inside. We've only lost one game in the Dome this year, and it was by 1 point, whereas we've had a harder time on the road, especially when there's elements. So getting a couple days where maybe there's some snow in almost May is probably good for us. Yeah.
I'm trying to get the draft out of my system here, so I know you won by a goal Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, people were happy.
They were,
especially on senior day. Mm-hmm. What kind of a contest was it? Obviously, it was kind of a back and forth, knockdown kind of.
Yeah, it was a really defensive game for us. So we ended up losing the draws 13-5, which when you do that, you usually lose. So we were able to have really good defensive stops, which we did have the GLIAC defender and offensive player of the week, both of them. But our defensive player of the week, she was able to hold Concordia St. Paul's best player to no points, and she is the leader in assists in the conference and leader in points, so goals and assists for her team. So that was a huge stop for us. But yeah, it felt like we just spent 2.5 hours on defense, and every stop was huge because Lauren Esposito had a good game but not a great game, so it wasn't all goalkeeping either. So it was just getting stop after stop, and then unfortunately it was a bad shooting percentage night for us, but we got just enough with Josie's 3 goals and some really good 1 goals from a couple other players to be able to hold them off. No one scored in I think the final 7 minutes of the game, so it was just very back and forth, very defensive, really physical game. It was fun though. Like this year, even though we've come out on the wrong side of a lot of close games, like lacrosse didn't used to be only close games, and now it feels like every game's a battle, every game's a close game, and that's been really cool. And now at least we've seen enough close games that we know how to handle them better, and I do think it'll really help moving forward into next year with our sophomore class getting older, but also help us in the tournament because we're seeing the same team for the 3rd time.
Is that kind of a blessing and a curse because you've seen them a lot, so you know
Yep.
the kind of team they are, you know what they like to do, but that old saying of it's really hard to beat a team, 3 times, 2 times, however you want to put it, and this is your 3rd meeting of the year.
Yeah, it's really odd. So we've played them in the GLIAC tournament, I think 3 years in a row, maybe 4 years in a row, and we've played them back-to-back 3 years in a row. So we're used to doing this. And this year, it's been 2 close games against them. Even the loss at Concordia felt closer than it was. We've really struggled with some shooting stuff. So I'm excited for a close game and just to hope that we can outlast them because we're kind of bouncing back at the right time and maybe they're on the decline at the right time, that hopefully we can have that battle with them. And if the draws even go a little more our way, it'll be a lot easier of a battle. I mean, again, 13-5 it's tough to win when you have that draw control percentage.
That and the fact you probably will get better goalkeeping.
Yeah. Probably we'll get a little bit better goalkeeping, get her a little closer to 50%. That's our goalie is her year save percentage is higher than what she had there. So I do think it'll be a better game for her. And part of that too was 2 of the goals were free position shots, and that's something that we've struggled with statistically. But yes, I do think if the right factors align, we're set up for another close game against our top rival. We battle every time we play them, so I think it'll be a lot of fun. It just is odd 3 years in a row, the same 2 weeks, but it's spring sports in the GLIAC.
It's hard to change your strategy at the end of the season, especially when headed into the GLIAC tournament, but does it change a little bit because it's not a regular season game now? It's kind of that survive and advance win so we can get to the GLIAC championship and keep going.
Yeah, so we'll change. There's some stuff that hasn't worked this year for us on offense, and I think the hardest thing for us this year on offense is how young our best players are. we're still having a lot of success, especially because of we're Northern Michigan. We had the best year in program history and one of the best years in the region of any team last year. So even though in contrast this year seems like a down step, it really isn't that much. And I try to not get as caught up in that as I have in the past, but we're still having a good year. And so we need to make adjustments recognizing that. Like, we don't need to full flip the script. We are not in panic mode. We need to make subtle adjustments with people in different places so we can get different looks, because we really struggle with, because we're so young, getting past the first step in any offense. Like, we want to score within the first 20, 30 seconds of a shot clock, and it's great if it hits the goalie and we get a reset, but it's not great if you're up by one goal and there's 7 minutes left and we're up. Like, we're man up, and then we shoot in an early part of the shot clock where we just have to then play defense. We just need to be in a place this weekend where we're managing the clock better, and we need to be in a place long term, so going into next year with this sophomore class, where they know how to regulate game pace a little bit better. But we start that now.
What do you do for practice this week?
Well,
Because that's busy.
yeah, but yesterday we actually were able to use the entire track, which was nice.
Okay.
They were pulling the turf in, and it went smoothly, so it was done in time, and we were able to use the track. And today was just kind of was almost sort of a recovery, and then we're going down tonight, so we'll get on the track tomorrow. Besides the multis, we'll start competing tomorrow, and the rest of the group will be able to compete. And then we were at a meet this past weekend, so they were able to, get some time on the track down at St. Norbert's.
Just a simple question, expectations?
Um,
You try to keep them so you can be happy if it's this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited. We have great athletes in almost every event across the board. I think we have some towards the top in a lot of events. So it's looking exciting. I think third or fourth is, but I think second place is not too far out of reach, depending on how everything shakes out. Of course, you look at the TFERS list, which is the list of what everybody's done so far this year, and it's looking good, but then on paper versus actual. But our athletes, I think they're ready. We're we've had PRs all the way through and keep moving up, and I think we're at our peak, and be exciting just to see what we can do, and we always seem to step up at the championships. Our team really is supportive of each other, and I think the culture right now is really good, really positive, and some excitement out there. So it'll be fun to see what we can do.
Anybody in particular that's got a shot at podium first?
Well,
Something?
of course, Crystal and Elise are right at the top of the 100 hurdles. I think they're ranked first and third right now. Vilma Els, our javelin thrower, is actually ranked number 1, so she's a possibility. Elena Vandergriff, who's only a freshman, the triple jumper, right now she's ranked number 1, which is she had a big jump this last weekend and moved her up into number 1. And then Sophie Diop is also in the hurdles. She's up there, and she's also in the triple jump. Let me think, what am I missing? The 400 hurdles. Anna Larson, who's a senior, she's up there, ranked in the top 3. So we have a lot of possibilities for sure for podium finishes.
Coach at St. Norbert's, I think it was 14 top 3 finishes. Does that just build confidence going into the GLIAC championship when you go out to a meet right before the championships, and then you see the success, and now you go into the big one?
Yeah, for sure. I think they're you get used to being at the top of winning, and now they're not afraid to at the conference championships to believe that they can be at the top. And there were only a few of one other conference team there at that meet, but solid. Wisconsin always has solid athletes and great programs. So yeah, for sure that builds their confidence, and I think it's really looking good for our meet coming up.